Oh.
Hello. Tony's. We're gonna watch Tony try and figure out how to use Disney Plus.
It's not even Disney Plus. How to use a smart television. And my roommate's pointing out to me, it was right in front of my face. I'm like, no, that's the animated series. Oh, right next to it. Got it.
So here's what we're gonna do. The Disney Plus drive-in's happening right now. Obviously, not everyone could get to LA. Not everyone in LA could get tickets. So we're just gonna watch the movie with you. Just watch it on Disney Plus. We'll talk about the movie sometimes, and otherwise we'll just talk Disney because it's a drive-in, so we can talk all we want because no one can hear us. So join the fun. We're going to count down in just a few minutes as soon as Tony figures out how to use the television. And we will count down from 10. Ooh, I can even use the countdown. Let me do that.
I'm figuring out how to do the captions.
Oh, yeah. Our audio will be off so that, we don't break the law. Okay, we're going to count down from 30. Okay, so we're starting Tangled. It is rated PG for brief, mild violence. And it's got the castle logo.
I
know you have opinions.
Hold on.
So what do you think of this castle logo as compared to like the blue one?
Top of the castle just hit. Are we on the same page? I have opinions. What do I think of this?
Yeah.
It's not the worst. I like how they tweak it for the different movies, like the Tron on Tron Legacy. Best one, hands down. And if you see it in 3D, that's why I went and paid money again, was because I wanted to see that castle in 3D again.
You also have the Disney Animation Studios logo with Steamboat Willie. This is the 50th animated.
Yeah, the 50 one.
Do you remember when The Lion King came out and they said it was the 32nd animated feature?
Yeah, because I remember how confused I got because I was like, how is this movie 30 seconds long?
Right. You know who else had that problem? Doobie.
Well, he just understood that joke too, I'm sure. Anti-gravities.
So starts, as most princess movies do, starts with the perspective of the man, Flynn Rider here. And from Zachary Levi fame, from ABC's Less Than Perfect. I believe that's what he's best known for, besides this.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing that rhymes with luck.
Oh, Chuck took place in Burbank, and Disney's based in Burbank. If you have anything to say about the movie, feel free to add in the comments. I see you guys watching, so I don't know why, but join the fun.
Here's us looking at another screen.
Yeah. So what did you think? All in all, what do you think of Tangled?
I love Tangled. I think Tangled got lost in the shuffle by what came after it by a few.
Yeah.
But I adore this movie. This movie's fantastic. And it was a great welcome back, as it were. Because there was a series there where it was just slowly kind of dwindling down again. And then Tangled came out. Now it's better.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, they talk about the revival period, kind of like we all know the second golden age started at The Little Mermaid, right? Or the Renaissance, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yes. I will argue that. I'll argue that it started with Oliver and Company, but
some people argue it started with Great Mouse Detective. But I think we all there's definitely a moment where that's Little Mermaid changed the game.
Yeah.
And where do you think this era in Disney animation started? Do you think it started with Tangled, or do you think it started with Princess and the Frog?
Tangled. 100% Tangled. I feel like they tried to start it again with Princess and the Frog. Hello! Right. But Tangled is I'll go back to the Oliver and Company argument, which kind of defeats my argument for Oliver and Company. But Princess and the Frog was kind of like, let's swing. But it wasn't a miss. But it was Tangled was the one that we cracked it out of the park.
So, we had Princess and the Frog, which I think has gotten, especially with the attraction coming, it's definitely sort of grown in popularity, I think, as time goes on. And it's weird. It's a throwback to like the 90s while still being the start of a new age. And then you have what I think is a very underrated film, Winnie the Pooh.
I was actually just talking about that with my roommate. I'm like, if any movie got lost, like I just said about Tangled, kind of lost in the shuffle, but if any movie was completely lost and forgotten, Winnie the Pooh. Like, no argument, Winnie the Pooh. If nothing else for the, oh, you cannot joke.
Yeah. That's, it's been forever since I've seen it, but it's amazing how like that movie was the first movie that the Lopi did for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up doing another film for Disney a little bit later.
Which one?
I believe I saw it on sale at like Costco. What was it called? Freezing? Froyo. Jeffrey wants to share that my little niece loves this movie and the show on Disney Channel. I actually really enjoy. Well, it was originally called Tangled, the series, and then it became Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure in season 2. It's intense. I enjoy it.
I haven't
and you
watched
get that Claire Keane look.
Oh, the lanterns.
Walt Disney Pictures presents. You don't see that much anymore. Or ever.
Am I behind you? Oh, I'm behind you by like 8 seconds. Okay.
She only 2.5. She loves singing "Wind in My." That's just my wind in my hair. Apparently I have the taste of a 2-year-old girl. Oh well, that could be worse. Pascal also seems to be growing in popularity as like time goes on.
I was surprised. I get it because of the emerald green thing, but the recent pin event announcement, they showed a box of Pascal pens as like the highlight. And I was like, okay, 10 years later, but then I processed, oh, emerald green. Okay.
Although it's funny because like Pascal could be like any color.
Yes.
So.
Do you know the story of where Pascal came from?
No. Well, I presume when a mommy Pascal and a daddy Pascal loved each other very much.
Yes. No, one of the they came up with the idea that Rapunzel would have a chameleon sidekick, and one of the animators. Hold on, I wrote this note down because I knew I was going to bring up this story. Kelly, oh my gosh, where'd it go? Kelly Lewis. How did I forget that? She is an animator for the movie, but she had bought a pet chameleon before, and the directors asked, "What'd you name her?" And she said, "Oh, Pascal." And they're like, "Oh my God, that's amazing! Can we take that?" And they took it, and they actually gave her a credit in the movie as Chameleon Wrangler.
Oh, I've seen the credit, but I had no idea what that meant. But
yep.
So, have you ever seen any of the footage of like when Rapunzel's hair goes wrong?
Yes. And I always just laugh because that means somebody clicked in the wrong spot.
Right. Yeah. It's just it goes like full like I don't know if you're familiar with the Marvel character Medusa, where like she has like prehensile hair and can use it to like attack people. And I
just like that. There's ones where it's like all in doing what it's supposed to, but then you'll see like some of the strands just coming out here, wrapping around something else. I mean, there's 100,000 of those strands. So
wow. If you go, I went right before this movie came out at the animation tour at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Yeah, it was. They had like they would show like where not the animator, but the painter would like paint. They would show like dailies just to kind of make it feel like someone was actually animating there. And it was funny because some of them said Rapunzel, some of them said Tangled, and some of them just said hair.
Did any say Rapunzel unbraided?
No, I think that I don't think they actually got to that point. But
okay.
It's funny because I feel like Glenn Keane doesn't get credit for this movie as much as he. I mean, I don't know what he actually did, but like this was his baby for a while.
Yeah, I think the year was 96 when they first started with it.
Yeah,
and then it just evolved. And I remember when I was in college, I went to a SIGGRAPH presentation, which is a computer animation group, and it was at the time Walt Disney Feature Animation, now Walt Disney Animation Studios, was doing a presentation of their 4 upcoming movies, and we saw the end of Chicken Little, which had me very confused. Another movie called American Dog, which ended up becoming Bolt. And American Dog, like, I will always have a distaste for Bolt because they showed us almost all the storyboards for American Dog, and those on their own were a fantastic movie. And then another one called One Day with Robo Robinson, which became Meet the Robinsons.
Right.
And then another movie called Rapunzel Unbraided, which, without going too deep into it, was a completely different story, which some of it shifted into what became Enchanted, with the whole going down the sewer manhole and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Glenn Keane was the powerhouse behind the whole Rapunzel idea.
I remember it being kind of initially marketed as like Disney Shrek. Like it was going to be like a twisted fairy tale kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then like, I think they moved away from that as time went on. Cause but I think that's where Unbraided came from, was like, it's like the untold true story, and I think this movie is, basically as classic Disney animation as you're going to get, currently. And, Disney animation to me is kind of in a weird place right now, but it was definitely a return to form, which, if this movie didn't happen, I don't think you would have had Frozen.
No.
And Frozen wouldn't have had some weird word that masks the fact that it's a princess movie if it wasn't for the disappointing box office of Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
But.
And then this one was the mark of Alan Menken coming back too.
Yeah. And his last major Disney work, unless you count Gallivant. But
I think this is also the mark of when Disney started naming their movies with adverbs.
Right. Because right now, as far as we know, like officially.
What is Nick saying?
Mike C, Tony B, I think he's trying to get you to be elected as, it's like a political thing.
I got you. I'm there now. Just thy bane of Doobie. Like there's a whole like
Nick is really in a good, charming way, Nick, but you're mean. Raya and the Last Dragon, as far as we know, is like the only official Disney movie in the pipeline, right?
Yes. Because I think Gigantic got formally canceled, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see because, Jennifer Lee became chief creative officer at Disney Animation basically just after making Tangled. Not Tangled, sorry.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Frozen, yes.
And, so then, that happened during the production of Frozen 2. So, she was co-directing Frozen 2. And then, it'll be interesting to see what vision she has for studio. If she's as strong as John Lasseter, and I don't mean that in terms of quality, but John definitely had a vision of what he wanted.
Yeah.
All those movies that you talked about got completely reworked as soon as John Lasseter showed up.
Oh yeah.
And, for better or worse,
was similar but different. American Dog, like I said, completely gone. And then Chris Sanders, who was head of that one, went on to do How to Train Your Dragon, which had kind of a parallel but different.
Can I tell you my Chris Sanders story?
Okay.
So Chris Sanders, best known from being that Mushu show at Disney's MGM Studios and DCA.
And Lilo and Stitch, but okay.
His first wife was named Chris Sanders, who also worked at Disney. And they met because they kept getting confused.
I didn't know that.
The only reason I found out it was his first wife was because then when he directed 20th Century Studios' Call of the Wild, and he's at the premiere, and he's with his wife, and I don't remember what Chris Sanders' wife looks like, but then I knew her name wasn't Chris Sanders, and I was like, oh, And then I did some Googling. And, yeah. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother.
Yep. This is very like if you could take Frollo's song and turn it into like a happy song, but still be a villain song. This is what I think of, because there's parallels between this movie and Hunchback, but this one's just friendlier and more fun.
A fun fact about this song is Donna Murphy from Broadway is singing the song. The person who did the demo was Heidi Blickenstaff, who was a Disney on Broadway performer was in Little Mermaid at the time on Broadway.
Okay, I know that name. She was probably at Epcot recently.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was in the Freaky Friday musical, and then
that's okay. Yeah.
So she's walking down the street. So she did a demo, just for Alan as like a favor, I guess, or whatever. And Donna Murphy is walking down the street with her iPod, and back when you had iPods, and she stops Heidi Blickenstaff and she goes, "I'm listening to you," and put the earphones in Heidi Blickenstaff because she was learning the song from the demo from Heidi Blickenstaff.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then this is where you start to see probably my favorite detail. Well, one of my favorite details. She never displays affection to Rapunzel, only her hair.
Oh.
Whenever she says nice things, she's looking at her hair.
I would have never picked up on that.
And then later, and I'll point it out again. Wait, hold on. I love you most. Hair. Boom. Yeah. Anyway. And then later on, when Flynn / Eugene is talking to her, and I'll talk about it then too, he pushes her hair out of the way.
Did you notice that, or did someone tell you?
I noticed it a long time ago, and then it started circling Tumblr, and I was like, "See, I knew it. I'm not crazy."
That's impressive. So when you see her tower, do you have the urge to go to the bathroom?
When I see her tower, I have the urge to go to Fantasyland at Disneyland. But yes, sometimes nowadays, yes.
The biggest presence at the theme parks are restrooms.
Yeah. Did they ever, which park was getting the stage show? It was overseas somewhere, wasn't it?
Was it? I know it's on the cruise line.
I know it's on the cruise, yeah.
But it has to be overseas because it's not domestic.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if that actually ended up happening with everything.
Here comes the best Disney horse. Really? I'll stand by that statement. Really? Maximus is the best Disney horse.
I'm gonna go with Cyril Proudbottom.
Ooh, I didn't think of Cyril. I do like Cyril a lot. Yeah, okay. No, I'll still stand by Maximus, but Cyril's up there.
Maximus is my favorite horse post the 1940s.
Well, Cyril's after the 40s. Or I think he might be in the 40s.
He was in the 40s.
Yeah.
Because he was the last package feature. But so I mean, this isn't Tangled related, but who's your favorite Disney dog? Animated dog.
Either Pluto or Goofy.
Okay, like
how or in the movies.
From a film.
Those ones.
My dog does not like Maximus, apparently. Come on, Nemo.
I probably have to go with Tramp.
I like Tramp. I'm trying to think. He doesn't get a lot of screen time. Or
Lady. I guess technically I have to say Lady too.
He doesn't get a lot of screen time, but I love the animation of Max. To me, he's like
from Little Mermaid.
Yeah, from Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Well, when you asked me that, he was the first one that came to mind. But I'm like, but I don't really like the character.
Yeah, I don't. It's not so much I like the character, but I love the animation of him.
Yeah,
like, he's like the most dog-like
in the fur.
Yeah, because I love Oliver and Company, but they're not really.
Dodger's up there too.
Yeah, I love Dodger, but I've never seen a dog do the paw dance like as much as I wanted it to. Like
The Streets of Gold one. We've got the streets.
No, the one
gold,
from the end, from the street, from when they're on the top of the taxi cab and they're doing like a little like shuffle.
I'll have to watch it again. I just remember the Streets of Gold. They all have the.
This Disney in Yemen met Lady Jodie Benson in Florida in 2018. Lady from Scramps. What's it called? Scamps Adventure. Yeah.
My little brother is the only person to beat me on Disney Seen It because of Scamps Adventure.
I didn't even know you had a little brother.
Well, not anymore after that incident.
Oh.
Beat me at Disney Seen It. I'm joking. No. That's he's on the West Coast. I love him very much.
What's he do?
He is a chef in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That sounds tasty. They did you ever think of the word satchel until this movie?
Yes, because of a different movie.
Which is
around the same time, and that was The Hangover.
Oh, wow. That's not a Disney movie.
Satchel. No, I think it's Warner Brothers.
You're right, because Alan Horn, the current head of Disney Studios, like when they brought him in and they, do the press release, and like he greenlit the Hangover franchise. Yay!
That's a proud thing for the first one. So the frying pan, I actually just told my roommate this story. I went to a wedding a number of years ago, and it was a Disney wedding because that's my circle. Yeah. But they had each table was a different princess, and it was done really subtly. And the Rapunzel table had a small frying pan as part of the centerpiece. And I was like, I like that. That's probably the best table. We were at the Little Mermaid one, which had a bunch of seashells and those kind of accoutrements on the centerpiece. But I was like, can I sit at the Tangled table? That's a better centerpiece.
That sounds like you. Is it the Wonder where they have, or the Magic? I think it's the Magic where they have Rapunzel's table, the restaurant, and then you can.
Well, I know it's not the Dream.
Yeah. And they turn O'Gills into the Snuggly Duckling on Tangled Night.
Okay, that's awesome.
And then like the whatever you call it, the ruffians come there and sing songs and stuff. But then in the restaurant,
they're the thugs.
They like the big signature dessert is the birthday cupcakes. Mm-hmm. Because Attila comes around with like a little tray of cupcakes. But what's interesting about the restaurant is you never see Attila. It's the one with the one that bakes with the mask and the horns. You never see Attila and Flynn Rider at the same place at the same time while you're having dinner.
Interesting.
Yeah. Funzel's around. Never see the two of them together. I don't know what happened. But do you want to wear a tiara?
For the financial implications, yes. It's like Pascal knows something, but no, he doesn't.
Yeah. Don't get your royalty advice from Chameleon.
Every time I see this part too, going back to the Glenn Keane thing, he said like the big visual inspiration for the movie was the French painting, The Swing. And you could see that everywhere. And then I love that it came full circle at the Riviera Resort, and they made the parody, as it were, of The Swing with Rapunzel, and now you could buy that.
That's awesome.
But every time I see that, that's where it came from.
I wonder if he has it. He's working on a movie for Netflix.
Is he? I knew he did the documentary with Kobe.
Yeah,
they were doing the Oscar. Yeah. He has a short that I love that's hand drawn, and it's called. I said that really weird, but I do love it. It's called Duet, and it's like two kids who grew up together with their dog. And
Yeah, it was that like Motorola back in the day.
Say that again?
It was made for he was working at like Motorola to show like.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, and then Motorola got bought by Google, so it ended up being at Google. But yeah, it was like a, kind of like how Pixar was designed to just demonstrate the technology.
And Lucasfilm,
yeah. The one of the things that I saw him do, I saw him at the Walt Disney Family Museum talking about the Nine Old Men, and at the end, he took on a VR headset and with like a digital paintbrush and did a 3D aerial, like just like painted in the air, and then you could see when he would move that it was like a 3-dimensional but 2-dimensional aerial.
Is there footage of that anywhere? I want to see that.
I don't know if he did it again. Like we couldn't take pictures at the museum, but
yeah,
it was really cool. And he played like music too. It was kind of like performance art, except Glenn Keane, and so it was kind of folksy performance art. Like, do you know which famous comic character was inspired by Glenn Keane?
No.
Do you read the Family Circus? Have you ever read Family Circus?
When I was younger, yeah.
So the little kid, whose name is something I'm forgetting. Let's see, Billy, is based on Glenn Keane because Glenn Keane's father was Bill Keane, who did the Family Circus.
I feel like I knew that part, but I didn't know that the character was based on the kid.
I mean, based on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Which also says he's now a prominent Disney animator. So
At one point, so it's not wrong.
Yeah, I guess like he legendarily is.
Is he a legend?
Is Glenn Keane a legend? He's got to be, right?
He's got to be.
Yeah, I think they did it like right after he retired. Yeah. Let's see. 20.
I mean, I could without thinking, I could think of at least 4 significant characters he's done.
Yeah, no, he's a Disney legend. 2013. Same year as John Goodman, Ed Wynn, Tony Baxter, Billy Crystal, Dick Clark, Colin Campbell, and Steve Jobs.
Who's Colin Campbell? I knew every one of those names except Colin Campbell.
He's an he was an Imagineer. He kind of worked he kind of worked his way up. He worked on some films. I'm trying to think what he's like best known for. He sculpted the caveman in Magic Skyway and the design concept art for Carousel. With Claude Coates, he really did Pirates of the Caribbean. And I don't know if you've read that Haunted Mansion book, that like famous story book. He did the illustrations for that.
Okay.
You've seen that book.
I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't own that one. When you said Haunted Mansion book, I immediately thought I have the one that came out to promote the movie about the history of the ride and everything like that. And then later on, they resold it in the park. It's just history of the Haunted Mansion with a little bit about the movie.
He was also the art director of Typhoon Lagoon.
Mm.
So they named 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Disney legends that year. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are still alive. To be fair, 3 were dead when they did it. But
Tony Baxter, Glenn Keane. I forget who the other ones were.
John Goodman and Billy Crystal.
John Goodman, Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Fun fact: there's no one from the 1989 Disney Legends class still alive. No one and one person, which was the second year, if you don't count. Why is his name escaping me? Fred McMurray.
Okay.
So 1990, there's one person left, Dick Sherman.
Mm. When did his brother die? I was actually talking about this the other day.
When did
almost like there's a tool we have at our easy disposals, We could look that up really quick, but
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head just because I was around. But he passed away in March of 2012.
okay. Maximus is even on the screen. What's the dog going for barking at?
Someone at the door.
Ah. So I was watching just the kind of what?
I said you entertain the people. I figure out what's going on.
Okay. So while Benji checks on his Amazon delivery, we'll talk about this. So her hair is meant to be 70 feet long with 100,000 strands. And more about the satchel. Again, I never thought of it as a satchel until much later on. Well, Indiana Jones, I guess. Did they call it a satchel in that? Yeah. So, I don't know. We've decided Indiana Jones, they also called it a satchel.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to make sure you were here for this part. I watched a behind the scenes thing earlier, so I had a couple things if I needed a moment, but I was like, I'm going to talk about this when Benji's back. Glenn Keane assembled all the women on staff and had a hot guy panel to make sure they got the look of Flynn Rider right. And they showed different art that made him look like a mix of Jim Hawkins and Jack Sparrow. And I was like, oh, what is that?
I vaguely remember.
No, it was a towel.
Mm-hmm.
It was a towel, not a satchel. You have to have your towel everywhere you go.
So long and thanks for all the fish. I was somewhere where they were doing like a salute to Disney music, and suddenly they played that song. Which
and a salute to Disney music?
Yeah, like it was just like a medley, and they were like, it was went from like Part of Your World to So Long and Thanks for All the Fish or something.
So, I mean, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a Disney movie, but I don't know if that would count.
I guess it did. Were you at the first expo?
No. I've only been to the Destination D's. I've never been out to the actual expo.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And we still hired you, huh? They
I haven't done a lot of stuff and you still hired me.
They started the first year of the studio presentation of like a live orchestra of like a Disney medley. Mm-hmm. And it included Splash, but they picked the scene of Daryl Hannah running with her backside into the water. And you're like, that's a weird shot to pick from Splash.
Isn't that the one that got edited on Disney Plus?
Yeah. You're like, things I didn't expect to see at Disney at G23 Expo. But
yeah. So I don't know how true this is.
Nice matrix shot here. There we go. Yeah.
The twist. I don't know how true this is, but apparently Mandy Moore always had her feet were bare when they were recording because she was more comfortable that way. And that's why Rapunzel has bare feet.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
Interesting.
I think it's because she doesn't know the outside world, so she doesn't know what shoes are. But
yeah, it would be like, who needs to wear shoes if you never leave your tower? Yep. Although I have so many questions when I think about this movie, like how she knows anything.
Yeah.
Like Mother Gothel, for not really caring about her, really was invested in her education.
Yes. And also, sorry. Okay. I also read this point too. How, if Mother Gothel is the only human she ever interacted with, that means Flynn is the first male she's ever seen.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of awkward later on.
Next topic. I'm just right now. Come on, bring Maximus back because I think Maximus is the best part of this movie. This movie's a fantastic movie. Maximus is the best part.
Well, I like the short they did. What was it? Tangled Ever After?
Yes. I almost said Tangled Fever. That was mixing my spin-off shorts.
Tangled Fever. Frozen Fever. You got to break it down.
Now we're mixing animation studios. There's the frying pan. That's later on in the movie when he uses it. And he goes, "Who knew, right?" One of my favorite parts of the movie.
So I just got a text from Alex. He's reviewing Clouds for us. So he just watched the screener, and he's out of town with his mom. So he watched the screener at his mom's house. And it says, "My mom started crying during Clouds as the credits started and hasn't stopped yet. And it ended 10 minutes ago." The opening credits, by the way.
Oh.
So her review, El No O during COVID O. I don't know why she's speaking in Latin, but there's some more Maximus for you. I like his little, like, the way he just kind of like gets so excited. He just like twinkle toast.
I'm still 8 seconds behind you.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Is this? Yep.
I have to say, you know what I think is like the hidden, like the signature characters for this era of Disney animation are the sidekicks. I think
that could also be argued for the Renaissance too.
But like the best part of Frozen is Sven, right?
I agree 100%. Or as I call him, ready? Budget Maximus.
That's nice. Big Baymax.
So that's a good question. Is Baymax a sidekick?
Well, I guess if you're looking at it as like a teen movie, no. But if you look at it as a heroes movie, which it really is, then yes.
I would say it's like a duo movie, and it's Hero and Baymax, and then the rest of them are sidekicks.
If you watch Big Hero 6, the series, because Baymax is like more involved, they actually created a new character called Minimax, which is like a little Baymax, who is like the Scrappy Doo of Big Hero 6.
I actually got yelled at the other night because I said Scrappy Doo was probably the worst character in the history of animation. He's the cousin Oliver nobody asked for or needed.
Yeah, puppy power. Didn't they make him the villain in James Gunn's Scooby-Doo movie?
I think so.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
That was when they were like, when they would take like an animated movie and they'd be like, we want to make a movie version, an animated series. We want to make a movie version, but we don't want to make it in the style that made it successful. We want to make it live action. Remember, like the live action Smurfs, so it'd be an animated character and like the Chipmunk Adventure is much better than any of the recent Chipmunk movies.
Better than the Squeakquel?
Definitely better than Road Chip.
What about Chipwrecked?
Shipwrecked is underrated.
How many have there been?
Chipwrecked, I think, was the last one. Either way, those are Fox movies. So we'll see what happens.
Here's the we got Gaston's Tavern when everybody wanted the Snuggly Duckling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alvin Road Chip was the last one. Shipwreck with
You're still on Alvin? Okay.
And then I don't know what the future of the Alvin and Chipmunks franchise holds. I guess they have a TV series on. Oh no! Oh no! This is not good.
Uh-oh. Breaking Alvin and the Chipmunks news?
Well, I guess news to me.
What you got?
I'm gonna share. I'm gonna get the picture for you.
Okay.
You have to see this.
Ruffians. While you were gone, I informed everybody that Rapunzel's hair was modeled at 70 feet long.
That happened.
Yep.
What is that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the series.
That is not a chipmunk. That's like a deformed boy.
That's if Jurassic Park were about chipmunks, that's one of the sequels.
Yeah.
The hybrid cloning.
Right. Like, do you think they'll ever make a Jurassic Park movie that's based on like how dinosaurs actually were?
No.
Okay. I just read a whole thing on National Geographic about like how we've been wrong about dinosaurs.
Yeah. We talked about that at Animal Kingdom the other day.
Mm.
I love that they got like, I would say, sizable names for all the thugs of the Snuggly Duckling, and we barely hear them.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to hear from Hookhand anymore.
He was. Oh, which one was he? Because I know there's Brad Garrett. Yeah, Brad Garrett. He's
Oh.
You know, Raymond's brother from Everybody Loves Raymond. And Bloat and Finding Nemo and so many other things.
They
Eeyore and Christopher Robin.
he has a comedy club in Vegas.
He does.
That's my neighbors bouncing.
Dogs don't like Brad Garrett either.
It's
I want to know which one we're not allowed to hear from anymore.
What's that?
Which one are we not allowed to hear from anymore?
I'm looking to make sure I'm right before I say anything.
Okay.
Big Nose Thug.
That was Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, who's like not allowed to be seen anymore.
Okay, I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't know this? It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Watch our conversation about Magic Camp.
Oh, okay.
You know, if you go on a Disney Cruise Line, Vladimir has ceramic unicorns in his pockets.
Does he give them out?
No, he like collects them.
Ah.
Like to the point where like I almost thought about like bringing some with me and just blowing Vladimir's mind.
And that is Richard Kyle. I don't know how to say his last name, but he is the former boss of probably my favorite Adam Sandler movie, Happy Gilmore. Who's just the big like 7'7" guy.
This is his picture on Wikipedia.
Yeah, well, that's towards the end there.
I feel like he should. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, that's why I said that's towards the end there.
He was Jaws in the James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
I'm gonna look this up now. I'm curious about this whole Jeffrey Tambor thing. And then the Kingdom of Corona logo, the sun, because Corona means sun, not weird virus prediction 10 years ago theory.
You know, because I gotta tell you, if you could predict the future, you're probably not working at Disney Animation.
You're probably in the woods in Montana somewhere. Which one?
Oh, did you know that? You know what? Now watching this movie again, I'm getting a greater appreciation for Maximus.
Especially, I have an affinity for quiet characters who all the acting's done through how they're animated. Maximus being one of them.
I was trying to be quiet for you. I wanted you to have an affinity for me.
The stabbing brothers.
Did I dream it that they're doing like a Mother Gothel origin story someplace?
Isn't that one of those books?
Oh yeah,
all of the villain books.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ever since 1999, I've had a weird hesitation with any kind of origin story.
What happened?
For a villain. A movie came out. It was all about a very popular villain's origin story as a boy in the desert and how he grew up to be. Yes, Phantom Menace.
Seriously?
I'm just saying that.
You know what it was? It's Tangled, the series, like kind of goes into a little bit more in depth. Mm. Now available on Disney Plus.
And the Disney Channel Now app, right?
I don't think it's there. I think it kind of moves to Disney Plus.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Is this
Johnny Nash?
Okay. Who?
Johnny Nash. I can see
yeah.
really now.
Yeah. I saw that just before we got on. Him and Eddie Van Halen.
Jump! I might as well jump. Best known from I think the.
Who's your bet on number 3?
What's that?
Who's your bet for number 3?
I have something in my head, but I can't say it.
I have a feeling we might be on the same page. Yeah.
So do you know Corona means crown, right?
I thought it meant sun.
Really? No, it means crown. You hear
it
has a corona because it has the crown, around the
crown. Okay. Corona means not cornea. Corona means rarefied gaseous envelope of the sun and other stars. The sun's corona is normally visible only during a total solar eclipse when it is seen as a regularly shaped pearly glow surrounding the darkened disk of the moon.
Yeah, because it's like the halo around the sun.
Yeah. And in anatomy, a part of the body resembling or likened to a crown.
What part of the body resembles a crown?
I don't know. Little caps on your teeth, maybe.
Oh.
A circular chandelier in a church.
A beer.
Loosely, yes. If you want to say it tastes like a beer, sure.
I didn't know you are a chief beer correspondent. I've never had a Corona.
You've never had a Corona?
I've had like 3 beers in my life. And I don't mean like 3 kinds of beer. I mean like 3 of the same beer.
Yes. Okay. And they weren't Corona?
They were not. I think they were Miller Lite.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'd probably put them on par with each other, but I'm not. I used to like Corona a lot, and then like my palate kind of grew, and I was just like, oh, why do I like this so much?
Wow, we can make a movie called The Evolution of a Snob.
Pretentious toadies at it again. Speaking of, here's the scene that I always thought, okay, what a great idea for a boat ride. Everybody loves these boat rides lately.
Yeah.
But no, let's put projection effects on Maelstrom.
I feel like
what? No.
I feel like this was bioluminescence before it was cool.
Yeah.
I think bioluminescence has always been cool, but yes.
Do you have a thing against the Frozen Ever After ride?
If you took that and built it brand new in Fantasyland, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
See, I was not a huge Maelstrom fan.
It's not even that it's Maelstrom. It's that you took okay. Again, look at this I'm wearing right now. Okay,
yeah.
You took an actual demonstration of a real culture and shoehorned a fictitious country into one loosely inspired by that one.
Yeah, you're gonna hate the future of Epcot.
Yes,
that's kind of what they're doing.
Now they are, yeah. But even I'll give you Ratatouille is actually in France. Grand Fiesta Tour is actually in Mexico. And I'm fine with that. You took this. It's like, oh, it kind of works. Here, box office hit.
I was surprised they didn't do it more of a transition. Like you're sailing to Arendelle from Norway.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
I like. Are you a fan of Honest Trailers? Do you know Honest Trailers?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the Tangled one?
I think I have. I did a whole 5-hour binge of Honest Trailers one night.
They mentioned her healing power of her hair and Elsa's ice powers, and then Moana's water powers, and they're like, "Are we getting ready for a Disney Princess Avengers?" And now every time she fires up her hair, I think, "Oh, here we go."
They kind of did that in Ralph Breaks the Internet.
A little, yeah. Well, they made a giant Rube Goldberg machine out of themselves, but yes. Spoilers.
Spoiler. If you have been living, I mean, at this point, like I feel like there's no such thing as a spoiler because if you haven't had time to watch the movie now, you're not going to.
You don't want to watch it. You never wanted to watch it.
I mean, we were all remember like a year ago. We're like, when am I going to have time to watch all this stuff on streaming?
Yep.
Now. Men coughing.
Did you like Wreck-It Ralph 2?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
There you go. That's where I'm at. It was too self-aware.
Yeah.
That was my big thing.
I think it just needed more. I don't know. I wanted to like it so much more than I did.
I remember back in the day.
The last Disney animation movie I really liked. Probably Big Hero 6.
Not Moana?
I did not love Moana. I thought Moana was very like go to point A to point B to point C. Like had the weird thing, like weird diversions that didn't seem to make any sense.
So I love Moana. Moana to me played out like a video game. Like, okay, we have this boss level. All right, it's the Kakamora. We have this boss level. It's Tamatoa. And then we have this boss level. Oh, it's Teika. So I kind of see what you're saying with that, but I loved it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It just felt episodic.
Okay.
Like I don't think she really gained anything from those other experiences that then made the ending make sense. Like it just was kind of obstacles in the way to get there.
Yeah. What is it?
I mean, if it was like a regular movie, I would have had no problem. If it was like, a Blue Sky movie, I would have loved it. It just Ron and John, I just wanted a little bit more.
I'm glad you said Ron and John. I love Ron and John.
They just did a really cool presentation at the Family Museum. And then they did something neat at Annecy too.
Was it a virtual one?
Yeah.
Is it still available?
I can probably hook you up.
Okay.
They're the best part of the Annies every year. They're like Smothers Brothers routine that they do.
Who knows what the Annies are besides us and a couple people on staff? Who watching this stream right now can tell me what the Annies are? Anyone?
I feel like so I'm a member of ASIFA.
Okay.
And I always felt like, wow, like there's, like there must be all these people. It's not a really big group. Like when they do a screening, it's not in a big theater. It's in a small one.
I remember when I was in college, one of my professors, teachers, instructors, whatever you want to call them, he was like, you should get a subscription to Animation Magazine. I promise you'll love it. And I looked at it, and at the time, and this is 2005, 2006, it was a ridiculous amount for a magazine subscription.
Right.
And I remember I've talked with him for a while. I'm like, I don't know why it's so expensive. And he goes, because nobody gets it. Like it's a very specific group that would want that. So I'll go back to that. Like, yeah, it's you think there's a ton of people who love it because you love it, but it's really 12 people.
There used to be a magazine called Amusement Today.
Yep.
Which was like the billboard for amusement parks. And it was the same thing. It was like really expensive. And then it went out of business before I had the money to join it. And like I kind of regret it. But
weren't they the ones that gave the Mythos Best Restaurant Award 10
years
in a row?
No, it's something different.
Because we talked about, when I did my live stream with Doobie the other day, he was like, "Oh, it's Theme Park Insight." I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was an actual print publication for a while there that it had it up on there.
There used to be a magazine called Theme Park Adventure.
Okay, I never heard of that one.
Rick West, and that's how actually Laughing Place got its start. Was he had a magazine, and so he helped Doobie get access to stuff. But why aren't you covering Annecy for us next year? That makes more sense. Animation.
I'm gonna have you say that all again because my computer just woke up and said, "Hi, what would you like me to help you with?"
Oh, I was gonna say, why don't you cover Seagraph and Annecy for us? That seems to make more sense than.
I would love that. And then I'd get depressed for a few hours afterward, but then I would love that.
Why? Because you're reporting about it instead of doing it?
Yeah. I mean, I still do stuff for fun every now and then, but I just now it's more of an I'm watching it in awe. There's no way I could keep up nowadays because my education dates back to, like I said, 2005, 2006, and everything now is light years ahead of that.
You don't keep up with your syntax tablet and like make
my Wacom.
I was at an event once where like they sat us in front of a computer at Disney Feature Animation, and I think it was Ralph, from Wreck-It Ralph, obviously. And they're like, okay, go animate them. And they're like, you push these buttons to make it. And I was just like, ooh, I'm playing with Ralph. It was really cool. Like, I don't know, because growing up, I'm used to like the sort of classic animation where, they would draw it and flip it. But now that, now it's more about acting. I mean, not that it wasn't back acting there, but it's about manipulating it to say, instead of just making it exist because you have your control of the pencil. You got the rig and everything. And so it was interesting. Can't remember what event that was. But
I'll go back to this movie with Glenn Keane. Glenn Keane is one of the few, I think, who adapted to what they call the box from their hand-drawn backgrounds.
Yeah.
And he would go through, and it was when Lasseter came to Disney again that they worked on making the computer more intuitive to what the animator needs. And Glenn Keane would go through. He had stepped down, I think, at this point as director from the movie and just went on to become like animation director, I think was his title. And he would go through to the different animators who were working with the computers because that's all they knew, and would physically draw on their screen and say, we need to make it do this. This is more natural. Da, 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 da. And then the animators would then on the computer click around and shift it so it went into how he drew it.
Yeah, the famous draw overs. I think Mark Henn still does that over there.
Probably. He's another one of the ones that came on. I still feel like I've watched him at like D23 events and like videos and stuff. I don't personally know the man, but I feel like he's one who is still very much pencil paper and is like, I kind of have to deal with this box.
That's
it was Glenn and John that embraced it.
Well, yeah, like because then you had someone like Andres Deja who would rather work on Bambi 2 than transition to computer animation. And I mean, we can go on and on about the fate of the sort of demise of traditional animation and why that happened, and is it good, is it bad, is it just natural? I mean, that's a whole thing. But so many people just came across. It's one thing to be like, okay, my time's done. I can respect it. But the people that just threw the temper tantrums, like, you're in commercial art. You got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, it's nice that they can do things like, like Eric Goldberg does with like Mini Maui or, what was that short they did? Float? Paperman.
Paperman,
And, they can find ways to use those skills and kind of intertwine them.
What I love about Paperman, and it's so stupid, but what I love about Paperman is that whole thing, it's all computer animated. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Right. But it's all, there's an algorithm built into it, so it has the varying pencil lines. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Just draw it. I get it. It's moving on to, was it going to happen eventually? But you're going so far into it, or you're creating a computer algorithm to make it look like a pencil drew it.
What's interesting is that Paperman was the first Disney animation short to win the Oscar for Best Animated Short since It's Tough to Be a Bird.
Okay.
1969. Mm-hmm. But I wonder what happened. That film was directed by John Cars. I wonder what happened to him.
Disney and Oscars, Tangled got snubbed. Tangled wasn't even nominated that year.
Wow.
Not that it would have won, but it was Toy Story 3.
Oh, yeah. Toy Story 3 was going to win.
It was this was the actually highest grossing animated film of 2010. That wasn't a sequel, showing you that they all were sequels.
It's funny how, like, for every other award, it's always like artsy and stuff, but for some reason, the animated feature can go to something commercial.
Well, yes.
So, because So I'm trying to remember what. So yeah, well, they only did 3 that year. It was Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, and The Illusionist,
which is the foreign one that nobody saw.
Right, French, I think. Yeah. And then last year, for example, it was 2019. It was Toy Story 4, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, which I believe won the Annie.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Missing Link, and Toy Story 4.
Which won the Golden Globe, and I had literally watched The Missing Link maybe a week prior, and I was like, that ain't gonna move. And then it was like, what?
Yeah,
it's a pretty movie, but I just thought it was weak.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Movie, but just
because next year, what will we have? Onward. Maybe Soul.
Onward, Soul. Hopefully, Soul. I'm looking very much forward to Soul. Raya got delayed, so it won't be Raya.
I've seen part of Soul. I guess like 40 minutes.
Okay, that's about half, probably.
Yeah. I would say it's probably the first act, maybe a little less than half.
Okay. Am I gonna cry? I'm gonna cry, aren't I?
I'm guessing so. Pete Docter, man.
Every Pete Docter movie has made me cry. I'm gonna cry.
Pete Docter is an unbelievable talent.
Yes. Second animator hired at Pixar after Andrew Stanton.
Yeah, because they had I saw a picture somewhere, I think maybe a Pixar storybook or something, and it was like John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, and Pete Docter are like flying to Disney Animation to do Toy Story. And he the cool thing about Pete Docter is he loves everything that we love. He loves Disneyland.
Yeah.
He loves the Muppets. He's like us. And I would say about
He'll come work for us?
70% of the time I fly to Burbank, he's on my flight.
Nice.
Wearing that white t-shirt. No. Dance break.
So, what town is this modeled after? Do you know? The Kingdom of Corona is modeled after somewhere very specific.
The Italy Pavilion at Epcot?
Oh, you're close by being in a theme park. It's Disneyland's Fantasyland.
Oh.
The animators went there because it was the return, right, to traditional stuff.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, if you look in the corner there, you can see the evil queen like peering out.
Yeah, she's peering out the window. And then in the background, somebody's eating a burger from Pinocchio's.
So,
I made that up. That's not true.
Story. I went there once to have a burger, and they said they asked me. It was so all I had was a burger and I think and a Coke. And they come around and they want to take a survey, and they asked me how was my burger quality. So I give it a rating, and then they go, okay, and then how was your food quality?
The burger's not food.
I know, that's what I was like, uh-oh. What just happened?
Pinocchio's burgers are people.
So you know how at Belle's Enchanted Tales they have like a picture of Belle's mom?
Mm-hmm.
So when we first went on it, I was with Doobie, and we go like, oh, it's Belle's mom. I wonder what happened to her. And then Doobie goes, try the gray stuff. She's delicious. So we talk about Soylent Grey.
Oh, that's horrible but hilarious. And now I'll never be able to do that again. So this scene, when it first came out, gorgeous, beautiful. I got little trivia numbers just so I have talking points tonight. 45,000 of these lanterns are in this shot or in this scene. How many people notice that this is the actual the lantern that actually gets to Rapunzel with the sun on it, the Corona Kingdom logo? How many people notice that that's the one that she actually grabs and reaches out? So they do technically find her with the lantern.
0.
Yeah. I remember I saw it. I was like, oh, that's the one they handed out. And then later on, people are like, oh my God. Like literally, I saw it a week ago. Somebody put a meme up like, did you know that this was yeah. Did you not? Largest crowd scene in animation to this date. I think it's all of the crowd shots in this shot.
When you see the show on the cruise line, it's just such a beautiful moment because they're off in the balcony and their lanterns are floating around, and then the whole theater, through projection mapping, and then some, real people holding them on sticks, and just glows, that sort of warm glow. It's beautiful.
So I hate to say this, like I said, beautiful when this came out. Because of my exposure to the parks and everything, I am now completely jaded because it's in every fireworks show. It's in Fantasmic now. It's in
Fantasmic. Oh, at Disneyland.
At Disneyland, yeah.
Okay, they changed Fantasmic at Walt Disney World. They could change Fantasmic at Disney World, and I wouldn't know for about 20 years because that's about how often I see it. It's like I joked that the Norway film was changed on a weekly basis, just no one knew because no one stayed and watched it.
There's my friend to this day, this happened 12 years ago, and she'll never let me forget it. I literally saw that the doors were open when we pulled into Maelstrom. And I was like, oh, we gotta go. And I literally pushed her through so we didn't get held at the theater doors. I'm like, we gotta go. We're gonna get stuck and we're gonna have to wait for that movie to finish. Go now. So every time I talk about it, like even to this day with Frozen, like I might post something like, oh, I'm at Frozen today or whatever. And she'll be like, oh, did you beat the movie out? Like, because God forbid you wait for it.
At one point, didn't they just keep the doors open? Like
towards the end. I'm pretty sure it was after the Norway Tourism Board stopped sponsoring it.
Oh, yeah. So Rebecca thinks that this would have been great to see jump to Broadway.
Yeah.
I don't know that it won't. I mean, it's going to take a bit for Broadway.
I always feel like the cruise line and the parks are kind of testing grounds, and it's on the ship.
And just because it's Alan Menken, and
yeah,
there's even talk of making like a Gallivant musical. So but it really is pretty. I mean, when I saw this, and I saw this in Disney Digital 3D. Remember that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this made you like appreciate computer animation.
Yeah.
Like, as a Disney fan, we kind of had a chip on our shoulder about the whole thing. But this, even just the way the patina on the close-up shots.
Yeah.
It's
like you could like as a lighting from the animation perspective, because the one thing you always have to remember with animation, none of this is filmed. This is all created. So it's not just, we've got fortunate with that camera lens. It's
right.
Like I'm getting into like digital analysis here. It's like the lighting on Flynn's face coming from the bulk of them on the side of him is just somebody animated that. And it's a lighting layout fantasy, but also probably nightmare.
Yeah,
but it's beautiful. I remember I saw it in the theaters and I wept, and I didn't watch it. And I was on a plane, probably flying to California, let's be real. And I was on the plane and I watched it either on my iPod or maybe it was on their screen on the seat or whatever. But I just remember that was the first time I had seen it since I saw it in the theater, and I kind of forgot how beautiful it was. And I'm just sitting there by myself on a plane. Also, same place I saw Big Hero 6 for the first time on a plane. And that was also embarrassing because I wasn't expecting some of the things that happened in that movie to happen.
That's why I don't watch movies on planes anymore. I just pull up Airport 74. Rebecca says Mother Gothel seems like a diva opportunity.
Yeah, but Idina Menzel's always done like the witch character, so what's she gonna do? And don't say, but Tony, but Elsa, because Elsa was gonna be a bad person.
That is true. You know how we're getting the behind the scenes documentaries now, like of like the Inside Frozen 2. Did you watch the making of Frozen 2 Into the Unknown?
Not yet.
It makes me
I need to watch that, and I need to watch Prop Culture still. We said it earlier. I'm behind on my streaming.
Yeah, you really should get a job where you just sit at home all day, working from your home.
But I want to pay attention to Prop Culture, and
that's true. But like Into the Unknown,
about what cupcakes are coming out.
I don't love Frozen 2. I feel like it's a little bit of a mess. But watching that makes you appreciate Frozen 2. Like not that I think it'll get better movie now, but like the documentary was so good that I enjoy the movie now because like, for example, when they meet that guy from like the in the land that has the reindeer obsession, and he randomly says his name, and it feels like, why is he saying his name? Because he has no point as like a movie character. Well, he was named after Chris Buck's son who passed away. And so like you can't cut that like as the movie develops. So as a character ebbed and flowed. So it's like, because his name was Ryder, I think. And it's like, okay, now it's okay because it's like a memorial to the director's son who died during production. That makes more sense. Also, if you're born with the last name Stabbington,
you have your career cut out for you.
Yeah.
And there's two of them. So
Rebecca has a good point that Tangled has her favorite color palette.
The purples and golds.
Yeah. I mean, it's just got a very storybook, almost Mary Blair-esque. I mean, a little toned down in terms of like repeating. but it's like got that soft pastel. I don't know what you call it, but storybook. I mean, and I guess that's what they were going for. But it's definitely it's kind of like a love letter to classics, fairy tales, just with a modern sort of ethos. This is her haunted hayride moment.
Yeah. Where's that at Fort Wilderness? And I also love that you could already see her aging more rapidly because she's not there with the hair.
Right.
I'm watching this now, and even though have you watched the first Toy Story today? Not like today, literally, but
no, like recently, yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Now watching this, I'm still noticing the age of it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's still kind of in some ways.
Well, it's interesting because we never really got a chance to do that with Disney animation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it started with Snow White, and I would, I know it's sacrilege, but I would say Snow White out of the classics is like, I'm just visually looks dated,
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to Pinocchio and the technical mastery of that film.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into Dumbo and Bambi, which are completely different and beautiful in their own way, but they're not trying to one up Pinocchio.
You skipped the best of those 5.
Well, and Fantasia.
Okay, there you go.
Which is just, a tour de force of all sorts of styles. And then the war happens, right? And then so they get into cartoony style. And then, I would say
you could say it. You could say it. Cheaper.
Well, right. But then also, and then you get to like, Alice and Cinderella and Peter Pan, and they're good films, but they're almost like Disney's version of TV animation at that point. I mean, they're
okay. I never thought of it like that, but yeah.
Yeah. And then, then they try one more time with Sleeping Beauty, I think, to really push the envelope stylistically and artistically. And then, just the money's not there. So then you get the Xerox process, which I think created sort of that style that went from there through Mermaid.
Yeah.
With the sort of the lines, and they all kind of look the same. And so you don't really have the evolution that we've had with computer animation if you go to traditional animation, because it started so strong. And then, the war unfortunately happened, and they just were never able to get back to that pinnacle again. I mean, you could say, and then the second, the Renaissance, that's a whole other story. But, Walt never reached the apex of the big 5 in terms of animation after the war.
Yeah. Pinocchio is still like widely regarded as the most beautiful one.
Right. And I mean, it blows your mind to think that that's like the second animated feature.
Yep. The revelation.
I mean, Pinocchio has had a troubled development process, just like anything at Disney. But I mean, that opening multiplane shot, it's just unreal. If you think about, that wasn't the 12th animated feature. That wasn't the 15th. That was the second.
It was the second.
Yeah.
What I love about the revelation scene is that's the first time she's back in her tower and everything is darker. When earlier, when it was all she was new, everything was well lit. Like, people will argue that it's because it's the turn, it's the climax, so it's got to be darker, blah, 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 blah. But no, it's because the world for her has now grown so much.
Rebecca thinks it's the acting of Snow White that makes it feel dated. Yeah, I think the acting, with the possible exception of the Queen and the Hag, well, particularly the Queen. I feel like the Queen is so understated that it makes her just seem evil. But
I mean, yeah, I mainly think of Snow White. Like, well, all Snow White did was scream. So is that really? Is Fay Wray like a horrible actress from King Kong for doing the same thing?
I just think it's not so much that it's horrible. It just comes across as one-dimensional. it's not that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a fantastic screamer, but she.
Adriana Costellati, is that? Am I saying that right?
Adriana Costellati.
Yeah. Which is actually going back to Enchanted. We'll bring that up again.
Bathroom, because there's like a signed VHS cover or something in the bathroom. Adriana Costellati.
Which wasn't that the name of the weather girl in Enchanted, or one of the reporters or something? Yeah.
I remember I was so proud of myself when I finally got Adriana Costellati, Mary Costa, and Eileen Woods all straight.
Mary Costa.
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay, and because I knew Eileen Woods is Cinderella.
Right.
I don't remember Sleeping Beauty, but talking in Sleeping Beauty.
I kind of wanted to. My dream back when Mary Costa was 30 years younger. I kind of wanted her to like be at Miracosta. So I could have Mary Costa.
That'd be the worst "Who's on First" routine ever. Who's staying at Miracosta? Mary Costa. No, who's staying at Miracosta?
So,
hopefully one day I'll stay there.
I have yet to stay there. I stayed at the Disneyland Hotel last time I was there. And I was supposed to stay at the Miracosta in April. But for some reason, I wasn't able to go.
It's almost like something happened that didn't let anybody do anything.
Yeah. Oh, Doobie just wants to share Snow White is number one.
Yeah, it's the first, 1937.
Yeah. You know what? I love how like they go, the one that started it all. Not to be confused with the mouse that started it all. Or man that started it all, or there's a lot
the
of people
part that started it all.
Yeah, that's like when I went to Chicago and I went to Elias and Flora's bedroom at the house, and I was like, where the magic began. Like we can no longer backdate it from Disneyland to Snow White to Walt. We're just gonna go right here. This is it.
Maximus saves the day.
The face on Maximus is just beautifully acted.
Yes. And modeled too, like all the little individual furs too.
I mean, just you never see him in a shot where he's not thinking.
Yeah.
Like even there, like he gets scared when he falls down, but he charges on, is determined. There's always the whole thing. It's beautiful. It wasn't until like I started doing this, like because I wasn't like you. I wasn't an animation student, so I would just go see a movie. It wasn't until like people started explaining to me that you really appreciate the art of animation, because none of this is a coincidence. Like, like in live action, if he slides down the well, he's just trying to act like he's sliding down, but you can't, there's not a real person. There's not a real mind behind it. You have to make every facial feature and every body movement happen. I mean, that's the difference, right? Between good animation and bad animation.
Yes. I won't name any examples from other studios that come to mind immediately, but
share that in the chat.
I remember when Incredibles came out, or The Incredibles, sorry. The Incredibles came out and the DVD. Brad Bird did a signing at the Virgin Megastore in San Francisco, and I pre-ordered the DVD from Disney Store. That's a whole other story unto itself. But so I took it to get it signed at the Virgin Megastore by Brad Bird, and at the Disney Store they only gave you full screen. You didn't have a choice of the widescreen delineation or the full screen. And I remember I went up to him, had him sign it, and he looks at it and he says, "Full screen? You're wasting half of my work." And I've never not thought of an animated movie that way from that point forward. So thanks, Brad Bird.
Wow. Don't know if that's the appropriate setting to teach that, but
the meet and greet at Virgin Megastore. And he did it comically, but I also felt it. So,
because I used to buy both, like,
okay.
because
Why?
I don't know, because I was a Disney, like when they did Lady and the Tramp and they released on VHS,
Okay.
widescreen for like the first time. And because I was like, for that movie, they actually reanimated part of it, right? To get everyone in the same shot.
Yeah.
And because widescreen wasn't everywhere
Mm-mm.
in 1955.
Number 15? If this is 50, that was 15, I think.
Ooh, let's play Check Tony. Although, like, there's debate about what's a Disney animated film, but
I'm going by the Walt Disney Animation Studios official list of 50 that actually came on the Blu-ray for Tangled.
Yeah, and I think that came from Dave Smith. Like, he was the delineator of what it was.
Okay.
So,
because we kind of knocked TV animation earlier as the the
you were right.
cousin. Hooray! But a lot of people throw a movie that's not considered part of the classics, the Disney Animation Studios, as part of the resurgence of Disney Animation in '95, a Goofy movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that is not a Disney. Well, I mean, that one's even super complicated too, though, because it was like it changed midway through production who was doing it. But no, that's
that I didn't know. Really? Did it?
Yeah, because it started off as like a TV animation project, and then Feature Animation took it over, and went to France.
I thought it was in France. Yeah.
Yeah, but it started off as just like a Disney, like a Goofy, a Goof Troop.
Yeah.
Movie. I think it was originally called the Goof Troop movie.
Probably, because before that, the only TV animation movie I could think of is DuckTales: Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Like, if you watch DuckTales, it's called Movie Tunes, and they were going to take TV animation and make movies, but they wanted to separate it from the classics. What's interesting to me is Lady and the Tramp. So Snow White and Seven Dwarfs was obviously 1937. Lady and the Tramp's obviously 1955. So that's what 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take Frozen,
I'm distracted. 2, it's emotional.
Frozen 2, if you go back 18 years, would be 2001, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I would say 02, but yeah.
18 films in that period compared to 15
yep.
back.
Yep. I was actually thinking about that because you go back to like Lion King being the 30-second one, which I always remember because I always thought it was going to be 30 seconds long. I'm like, this trailer's 3 minutes. This is a lie. Like, but from that point forward, you have so many smashed in because it was every year. And then it's
Jeffrey has a safety concern about the broken glass and the being barefoot. And then, so in terms of animated movies that are not Disney animated movies, technically, so you have the you have a Goofy movie, you have DuckTales, Reluctant Dragon.
So I consider that more of a short than anything because the whole movie preceding it is how they made it.
Then you have Victory Through Air Power.
I actually been wanting to watch that one.
Song of the South, which is definitely
if you consider Song of the South animated, then you should probably be considering Mary Poppins animated and
that's on my list here too.
Animated.
So Dear to My Heart, Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Pete's Dragon, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
No.
Enchanted.
That's a live action.
And Mary Poppins Returns.
Nope.
Yeah.
Those are all live action. Sorry. They're live and they're going back to like Saving Mr. Banks, when she got all upset because of the animated bit. It's like, no, it's a sequence. Exactly. It's a sequence in a live action movie.
It's interesting though, because like when you go back,
she also pushed her hair out of the way, like I said, for the record.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then cut it off.
It's weirder, like the earlier days when like basically all Disney was doing was live action, but I mean animation, but then like throwing in some live action to kind of bookend things and justify them. Because like when Reluctant Dragon was making, they weren't making live action stuff. Wasn't really till after the war and things were happening in Europe.
When did Reluctant Dragon come out?
1941.
Okay. Yeah, because Treasure Island was the first live action.
Yeah.
And that was what, the 50s?
Yeah, 1950. And then I would say they didn't even really get into it until 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Like that's their first not movie made in England because they can't get money out of England justification, which was 1954. So,
when did Seal Island come out?
Seal Island,
Nature's Wonderland, True Life Adventures.
True Life Adventures. That would have been 1948.
Okay. So would you consider those the first live action, or is it Treasure Island?
No, I mean, I think we all know what we all can understand that those are different than.
Yes.
Doobie was bringing up Piglet's big movie. Have I ever told you a big movie story?
No.
Okay, well, as soon as this movie's over, I'll do that. Okay. I just love how there's like a grand piano. I'm sorry?
I said that means it's a lengthy story.
Or
see, but he had his dream. He became the piano player.
Yeah. Everyone lived their dream. And then Maximus became head of the guard. This really doesn't necessarily matter.
And they all have their frying pans.
Yeah. Which for some reason, because like Rapunzel's now princess, is now the official weapon of Corona. This whole ending seems like a little I don't know, rushed.
Almost like there's a short that gives a more elaborate story.
Yeah. This was a good movie. Name your favorite revival movie. And I'll start at Princess and the Frog just for kicks.
It would either be this one or Wreck-It Ralph, the first one.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph, but I might go Big Hero 6.
So Big Hero 6, I didn't think I was going to like at all. And then I actually really enjoyed it.
So now we get to roll credits. Pretend like we're in a Lord of the Rings movie.
And Byron Howard, Nathan Greeno, I don't think did much more for Disney, but Byron Howard did Zootopia.
Yeah, but I think they're both gone now, right? No, maybe Byron Howard's still around.
If any of them is still around, it's going to be Byron.
Yeah, I know Nathan Greeno was doing. He did Zootopia. Nathan Greeno was doing.
Byron did.
What's that?
Oh, he was.
Yeah, and then.
Well,
that's probably. I'm gonna guess he's over at Skydance Animation right now. Let me see if I can.
Is that the one with John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Montan's over there. It's basically Skydance Media to direct an animated film called Powerless. I have a feeling at some point Disney's going to buy Skydance Animation. Just seems like that's inevitable. Well, thanks, Tony.
Well, because now they technically have Blue Sky, because that's Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the three major studios: Blue Sky, Disney, and Pixar, plus TV animation of various sorts.
Say that again.
They have the three
Disney
big
animation
studios: Blue Sky, Pixar, and Disney.
Okay.
Animation.
So I thought you were talking about three big studios in all of animation. I'm like, ooh, you're missing a few.
No. Like Disney's, like they always work. Like they did your recruiting together, and then they sometimes throw in TV animation as well. But
Pixar in Canada is shut down, right?
Yes, you know who moved in there is ILM. They shut it down, and then ILM was expanding. So
that's a weird twist.
Yeah, like I don't even, and like I think it was even so weird that like the lease expired and they had to start over from beginning. Like it's not like they just like did it. It's like, oh, it's just coincidentally there's a studio space and we need studio space. Chris Montan, who most people don't know, but has influenced almost all of our childhoods in ways we don't appreciate.
Go on.
Well, he was in charge of he was the music VP at Disney, so he's the one that worked with Howard Ashman, Alan Menken. I mean, I think all the way through Moana. Now, guess where he's working? Skydance. So we will be back tomorrow. I think you're back here tomorrow, right?
Yep. I think you've got me with the rest of the week.
Coco.
Yes.
So we get to hear Tony's perspective on a Pixar film.
I like it. I'll say that. I like it. Not my top, but I like it.
So we're going to wrap up, and then I'm going to tell Tony a story that I can't say on the air. So bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.